You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
What did I say, Rosie? They would suck us back in, and that's exactly what happened as the Toronto Maple Leafs are off to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the second time in 21 years. It's Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill, the Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take, presented by Bet365. What's going on, Rosie?
Hey, man, good vibes. Back again, the roller coaster. Honestly, it hasn't been much of a roller coaster this year or series. It was just
What?
That little shade there, that little shade of that shutout, that game 5 stung a little, and they got it done, man. They got it done. I know I don't know. No one's planning parades or anything like that, but they did what they needed to do, all right?
Okay, whatever you say, because I watched Game 6. They have a 2-0 lead. They blow that 2-0 lead, and then for some reason, the number 67 keeps popping up this season. We're far away, man. Dude, we're far away. They need 12 more wins to get to a Stanley Cup. But if you recall, who scored the first Leafs goal of the season? Max Pacioretty. Who scored the winner to send them to round 2? Max Pacioretty. Where's number 67? I got to believe. I'm starting to believe, bud.
All right, yeah. Well, I don't think omens are going to get past the Florida Panthers and the rest of the National League, but there's good things out there. There's good things. There's more good juju than there has been in the past. We do admit that. And, I think that the Sens were better than people gave them credit for. They had some clutch factor in there. Brady was big. I mean, that goal he scored, just a tip, top shelf, short side. They're showing that they're going to be a team to reckon with down the road when they get a little bit more maturity and some experience. And they gave them a pretty tough test, but I mean, Toronto was in control of that series the whole time. Even after, like look at the Colorado Avalanche had a 2-goal lead last night and they blew that. Like it happens. It's the playoffs. I don't like picking this team apart, but yeah, there was some signs of ghosts of playoffs past there in game 5, no question, but they needed to respond and snuff that out, and their big boys had to show up, and they needed to get something done in regulation, and they did just that in game 6. So onward they go, man. It's where they need to be.
Very excited for sure, to say the least, for round 2 in this rematch with the Florida Panthers. Our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. So we were down at Greta Bar last night, and producer Vic once again in one, but he's so right. He looked right at me when that second Ottawa Senators goal went in and said, like what? Dude, I know maybe you and I watched different games last night, but like it felt at points like they were trying to find a way to lose the game and set up a game 7. They pushed through, so we're feeling positive, but there was a lot of moments in that hockey game where I'm like, stop shitting yourselves. And at the end, ultimately they stopped shitting themselves and gutted through a 4-2 win. Couple things I want to pinpoint off the top here. Firstly, Scott Lawton. People need to shut the fuck up. Again, I thought he was great in the series. That shot block on Jake Sanderson to preserve that lead, then Willie scores the empty netter. That's why you pick up a Scott Lawton. Like, look at that, dude. That is putting your body on the line. Willie does the rest. We'll start there. What'd you think of that?
There's nothing worse than blocking a shot from distance. I don't really know. I'd rather be right in front of just pow pow right off of you. Where when it gets the heat going and it hits you, I swear there's just something about it where it will not hit padding. And it's tough to do, and your face is exposed, and you get down low to take up more room. So like, there's a good chance, a middle of the net shots up around your face. I've eaten one right in the face before. It's not easy to do, and as we know, not everyone's willing to do it. But that's what it takes to block. I mean, that thing sneaks through, hits a pad, 2 bangs. It's in the back of the net. That place goes fucking bananas. Everything's melting down. Totally different story. It is those little things that add up where if you don't do them, you don't have a hope in hell. So great to see Lots, chip in that way. He could have buried that goal late in the 3rd and put it away. I can't believe he didn't. There's probably 4 opportunities last night where one of the guys could have, would have, should have buried, and it just somehow unexplainably doesn't go in. But even with some of that happening, they got the job done. And yeah, Scott Lawton, he's got a little confidence now, which I know he was lacking for a little bit there. And I think his feet are under him, and he needs to be the same way or more in this Florida Panthers series, because they're going to need everybody, man.
Yeah, and that fourth line, quote unquote, was money in the bank in that series. I thought they were awesome. Without them, they probably don't win that series. The other thing that stuck out for me is the timeliness in offense. Let's call a spade a spade. That third line was awful last night. In fact, I put out the tweet in the second period, which I thought was true, and it is true. They were borderline unplayable for a good chunk and majority of that game. But dude, how many times did we talk about it this year? That's why they signed Max Pacioretty, to give the offense a boost in the Stanley Cup playoffs, to come up big. His fourth, series clinching goal. Think about that. His fourth career series clinching goal. Like that is a clutch factor this team has direly needed to step up. That was a classic vintage Max Pacioretty shot. But dude, that is why they brought this guy in. And the irony that I didn't think he had a great game, and I felt to begin with that maybe Nick Robertson should come back into the lineup. You got to credit Chief. That's why he makes the big coin. Kept him in the lineup, and Pacioretty pushes through there.
Yeah, he did. Like, going back to training camp when he's on a PTO and we're talking about like what this guy has and why are they looking at him. But go around the league and find a guy that is going to make the money that they had to sign Pacioretty for, which is bottom of the barrel money. A guy with his experience and a guy that can play throughout the lineup. I mean, he goes down to the fourth line, quote unquote, last night, and just still gets the job done. And it's because of his experience level, because he was a different type of player earlier on in his career, the go-to guy, a leader, and a guy that gets out there for those minutes to get the clutch goal for the different teams that he played for. Now he's in the twilight of his career, but he's able to stay in the league and be a factor because he's willing and capable of playing throughout the lineup. And there it was last night. He's down to the fourth line. There's not many guys that can get demoted like that, quote unquote, and become still productive on that line. Yet you get one goddamn opportunity in the high slot and you bury it. There's not a lot of guys that have all of that in their arsenal, and he's one of them. And that exactly exemplifies why they wanted to give him a shot. It didn't cost him a whole lot. The upside was huge, and you give him a chance. And hats off to him, man. It's paid off huge. And I think that there's going to be some roster decisions down the line, but it shows that they've got some bullets in the chamber, and he's certainly one of them.
And the underrated part to that, for the second time in this series, and again, I didn't think he was particularly good in Game 6. Max Domi made a play, max to max, and Domi scores the OT winner in Game 2. Now he sets up the winner in Game 6. Like, you just need that type of boost, that type of help to help the big boys sometimes in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And that puts teams over the top. Like, depth scoring, I thought, was a significant story as to why the Leafs are off to round 2. But I thought a big boy play by Max Domi, good filtering as well by Pontus Holmberg. And again, sometimes you got to dig deep. Like in any sport, whatever level you've played, sometimes you just don't have it. That line did not have it, but they found a way to get on the scoreboard, make a difference, and ignite this team.
Yeah, now I wonder if that's going to be a line moving forward, where Bobby McMahon's going to be. Who do they like playing with Nylander and Tavares? They haven't really found that in a way that clicks and is a guarantee and is a staple. So I think they'll still be looking for that. Holmberg, he kind of dropped into the mix for me. I know he had a touch on that and was working well behind the net, but other than that, I just don't see him being really effective. Bobby McMahon, he's getting a couple looks now, and you see some speed coming from him, but I need him to penetrate a little bit more. It's kind of the outside stuff that I see from him, where he's just a step away from, getting the grade A chance. We're playing the Florida Panthers. It's going to take everyone playing at another level, without question. Everybody top down. The only guys like that I could think of who just do exactly what you did are some guys on the back end, the Chris Tanevs and McCabe's and OELs. Those guys are solid. Benoit has stepped up in such a big way. Like the way he moves it. He plays with physicality, finishing checks. Like, I've never watched this team that I can remember where their D were just so reliable, and it's so refreshing in these high octane, high pressure games to have those guys always in these places where they need to be. And that absolutely has to continue in round 2.
Team effort for sure. Nationgear.ca, as you guys know by now, the Now We Go campaign continues, and we're 1-0 with the Now We Go campaign here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So if you want to pick up your playoff tee right now, nationgear.ca, 3 different colors. We got navy blue, we got white, we got black. So choose what you want. Hop aboard the Now We Go Express as we get set for the Leafs and the Florida Panthers. By the way, it sounds like the likeliest scenario is Monday for game 1, but a lot of moving parts. A lot of it will depend on what happens tonight between the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. Game 6 of that series. Again, we were at Greta Bar last night, a really fun experience, a good time. If you want to check out a game, can't go to Maple Leaf Square, can't get in the building, Greta Bar is a phenomenal option. Loud music, during intermissions. You also get the experience of the broadcast during the game, and we will be there for game 1. And it sounds like you might even be there for game 1, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be hopping on an airplane before long here, and just got to shore up the details. But yeah, I'm going to be in Toronto for game 1 and 2, and finally I won't have that FOMO watching you guys being at Greta, having a pretty electric watch party. So definitely excited to be doing that. Again, they've got home ice, games 1 and 2 at home. I think that city's going to be absolutely buzzing. I'll be able to witness it firsthand, and they're going to need all the support they can get, and I'm excited for it.
KPG writes in, I just got tickets for game 1. Lucky you,
Attaboy.
KPG. Thank you so much for writing in. But yeah, we ordered the nachos, the chicken nachos for the table. They just never disappoint. So thank you to Greta Bar for hosting once again last night. Man, we've been chasing today's guest for a long time, and just a perfect time to get him on. Maple Leafs legend Wendel Clark's going to drop by in about 20 here, Rosie.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It's a man's man right there. There's nobody on this roster that plays or is capable of playing like that. He played in an era where, your top scorer is also going toe-to-toe with Bob Probert. It's out of control. They don't make him like that anymore. So I'm looking forward to getting his perspective and seeing what he thinks of this group and this team and what they got to do against the Panthers.
At the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Your motorhome or travel trailer isn't just for getaways. It's a moneymaker on wheels. Most RVs sit parked in the driveway. With RV Easy, you can rent out your motorhome or travel trailer and learn over $20,000 this year. Founded, owned, and operated by Canadians, RV Easy takes care of everything, including full insurance coverage provided for every rental. And best of all, you choose when to rent and set your own pricing. List your RV for free today at RVEZY.com. That's RVEZY.com. RV Easy, rent your RV, make money easy. What did I tell you about the birthday boy, William Nylander? By far. I still think there was some fleas in his game, but of the core 4, I thought Nylander had the best night last night.
Without a doubt. I didn't like his first period, man. I thought he had that, I don't know what it is, where he's just floating and disinterested. If he's kind of showcasing he's not happy with how things are going, or if he's being a bit too cool, or I don't know what it is. And he usually gets away with it because he's Willie and he is cool and he's got some personality, and everyone likes that. But the game 5 deal where he just, like, you could have stopped that guy from scoring the goal that lost you the game, that forced you to go back to Ottawa. I can't let that go. That is just, it's bloody inexcusable. And I was a little still perturbed by it. And then I kind of saw him floating around in the first. But Willie's a guy who, it's not the way I think you should play. It's not the way McKinnon plays or McDavid, and it's not the way Crosby played or Ovi or, the guys that play great. I don't like it, but some guys do that, and Willie seems to be waiting like a snake and pick his spots, and then he pounces. Exactly what he did last night. He was a huge factor in there, coming down the wing there on that power play, and to just wire that right where it needed to go. I mean, there was so many looks like that last night where they didn't turn into anything, but he's a guy that, boom, just he absolutely labels that. And that's just a Willie goal. And it was huge. And to get the empty netter too. And I said in the game, in the pregame show that morning, someone has to step up and have like a 2-in-1 night. Someone has to be the difference maker. And last night it was Willie, and it started off with Austin getting on the board on the power play to start things off and get that all important first goal. So like we talked about in the morning, they did what they needed to do. They needed someone to step up. Austin needed to score. Mitchie wasn't too noticeable last night, but and I worry about him against the Panthers, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I know he's got a bunch of points and stuff like that, but like when the going gets tough and it turns into a playoff game and time's ticking down and time and space is taken away, he seems to want to go even more fancy to create something, because that's what he's got. He's got fancy. He's a fancy hockey player. He's very skilled, very talented, and it comes up huge all the time. But I just worry that against, a team like the Florida Panthers, where you need to abandon fancy and go to gritty and workhorse like and just a ferocious, furious style of play that just is relentless and just make something happen. I worry about Mitchie a little bit, but nonetheless, all these big boys have to elevate their game just like everyone else does. But again, it was nice to see 2 out of the 3 guys that I think we called upon to do something big. Mitchie was fine, but those guys have to do that each and every night if you're going to get by the Florida Panthers, and they're capable of it.
And I thought a big story last night was the face-off circle. Can't forget as well, John Tavares, 5 of 8, I think, in the face-off circle in the game, which is pretty significant as well. Wayne writes in, wild to see Marner credited with 5 hits in the game. But yeah, that was certainly a story, finishing his checks. But man, we were at Greta again, and I had to order a drink when they broke down this lineup issue snafu. Like, to me, if again, your mind wanders when you see stories like that. That's a fireable offense, right? I don't know who would be at fault for something like that. And if you guys missed it, it sounded like they put the wrong Nylander brother on the roster. 9-2, Alex Nylander, who was a black ace with this team. It's a fireable offense. Like, imagine a scenario where Nylander Willie is pulled from the game and they're like, yeah, sorry, you can go enjoy your 29th birthday at Real Sports. You're not playing tonight. Or actually go to Greta Bar and enjoy your birthday. Like, that was the leafiest thing I've heard in my life. I've never heard that before.
Oh, I know, one of those clerical errors.
How does that happen?
I don't know, man. An absolute blunder. Like someone sleeping at the wheel and just sees the last name and doesn't realize the number. The first time they're kind of just, scrolling down. And I don't know who does that. I don't know who puts it together and gets it into the coach's office where they probably should have seen that too, but I don't know how closely they look at, Lalonde Newsy was talking about how they go through and like verbalize it to each other sometimes in his experience. But I guess you just see Nylander and just throw it in there and don't really think too much about it. But that would have been the leafiest thing on the face of the planet. An elimination game, you lose one of your best players. It would have been the difference in the game, obviously, knowing what we know now. And it just reminds me of like nothing you can do about it after the fact, even though everyone knows it's wrong and it shouldn't be. But it's like signing your scorecard the wrong way in a golf tournament. There's a guy back in the day who did that and lost the Masters. And he was supposed to win, and the guy in second won the Masters because he signed a scorecard with an error on it. It would have been just like that, where they're like, we know you're supposed to play and this is wrong, but based on the rules, we have to pull you out of the game, Willie. That would have been insane. And it sounds like it was very close to happening, but good job someone caught that and we didn't have to deal with that, because I don't know if this organization would recover.
I know they wouldn't. I think the officials caught it, thankfully.
Wow.
But like, imagine that conversation, the coaching staff to Willie be like, yeah, pack it in, like, you're done for that. Excuse me. This is game 6 of the first round against the Ottawa Senators.
Would it be all that different than last year, game 7? Oh, Matthews, he's not going to play. No, Joseph Wall, who's been on fire and he's not going to play tonight. Willie Nylander, he's got a headache. I think he's not going to play tonight. It wouldn't be too much different than that, to be honest. We've been through some shit.
Oh, have we ever? And just really, really bizarre. And they made us sweat last night. Again, they made us sweat. It was 2-0 in that game. Calm, cool, and collected. You talked about the Brady Tkachuk goal. I hated that. I thought it was bullshit. He dove 3 seconds before and then tipped that puck in. He went down like he got shot, got up, tipped the puck in. I hate that kind of bullshit. And I thought in general, the officiating, I have to commend them. They didn't play factor in game 6. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about the statistics, 1 for 31, right, in these potential elimination games dating back like 2017. They had 1 power play. They scored on that power play. It was a pretty simple formula. Core 4, 5 points in this game. Power play, 1 for 1. I thought Stolarz made some huge saves. I even loved it. They're up 4-2 late, and it's like, hey, well, let's stop playing. And he made some 10-bell saves at the whistle. But those are the ingredients. You got the depth scoring, and on to Florida we go here, bud.
Yeah, big time. Who do you start with there? Like Stoli was solid. To a man in game 5, I thought everyone, you could visibly see they looked, I guess
Yeah.
it's nervous, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
texted you guys saying, did they cut an inch off everyone's stick as like a prank? Like everyone's double clutching, bobbling, dusting it off, couldn't gather the puck. And then Stoli, I thought, was a little bit trembly, just to kind of start game 5. And we know how that one went. And I thought they looked better in game 6, but there's times where inevitably, the Sens are going to break through and test him. And he kicked a lot aside. I know he let in that one that, I think his interview kind of says it all. It's like, it's a goalie, and you got a little horny on that poke check, and
I like that line.
that's such a clutch play to bounce it off the back of him perfectly. And it was just about nightmare fuel for Leafs Nation. But again, the most important save is the next one after that. And he bounced back really well. So he's huge. I'm very glad that they didn't go and make a goaltending change. I don't think it was necessary. He's going to start against Florida, no doubt. And it's going to take everything again. Like, I hope these guys realize that that's great, but like, they're literally facing the best team in the world.
The best.
They're the
I want to
best.
relish this underdog role. Man. The Leafs are starting off as dogs, by the way. I think last I saw plus 130 dogs in the series.
Of course. Would you not want to go face the Hurricanes instead, or the Capitals? Or
Well, they got no choice. They're playing Florida. So
they're the best team in the world. And it sucks for the Leafs and for the fans to have to face these juggernauts every year. Even if they get to the second round, it's just more and more, whether Tampa's in their prime, Boston's in their prime, and like people in the Oilers like, oh, look at LA Kings. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You get the LA Kings every year, and all year long you play the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks. Like, I got this idiot friend who's like, oh, it's so much harder in the
they're
West.
playing Vegas, Rosie. Come on. Vegas is a top 3 team too.
Fine, but
Yeah.
give me where's Anaheim and San Jose in our fucking division? Give me a break.
Buffalo.
It's way harder in the Atlantic. There's juggernauts every fucking year. The best team in the world for the last 3 years. You have to get by them. But my point is, if you get by this team, like this is like way down the road type of a series. Like, this is what you beat these guys, and it'll be like your chances of winning the Stanley Cup will just skyrocket. Like, this is the big test. I know it's a second round, but I hope that they're ready to put on their big boy pants and elevate every single aspect of their game, because it will take that against them. It's going to feel different. It's going to feel like they're starting the playoffs when that puck drops, and they need to respond accordingly.
I want to adopt that underdog role. I would just be very complimentary of the Florida Panthers. Play Brad Marchand's game to him, man. Brad, he's going to come out and say this Leafs team's the best I've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. Give it right back to the Florida Panthers. And I'm very, very curious to see the PR battle. Paul Maurice, one of the best, in the league at talking. Craig Berube, man, just the confidence he instilled in the first round. I think it's hilarious. He, not to compare him to Kawhi Leonard, but he comes into Toronto, doesn't look at the past, wins a series. Babcock never won a series. Sheldon Keefe won one series. Berube comes in. And again, there's going to be people out there that try to put these pie charts together and say, yeah, this is why. And no, this was needed. Craig Berube was the right hire. The Maple Leafs have won a series, only the second time in the last 21 years. In support of Sick Kids, thank you so much for the super chat. Devlin Foyston. Much love from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. What a big game and great performance from Willie Stiles on his B-Day and the whole team. Additionally, John Gallagher sends us this super chat. Can you ask Wendell if he remembers the fight in practice with Kevin McGuire? Our company did work for McGuire, and all these years later, he says Wendell was the man. Big win last night. Go Leafs, go. You think we'll see a scrap in that Florida series, by the way, at some point? We didn't see one in this series, right?
No, we didn't. Did Florida didn't have one in their Tampa. That wasn't even all that physical, really, was it?
No. It was a bit chippy. A couple of questionable hits. Ekblad. By the way, that's a big wrinkle, too. Aaron Ekblad's not going to play game 1 of that series.
Correct.
Yeah.
He'll be serving the second half of his suspension. I just look forward to that series. And I mean, their forecheck is a huge thing. We know that. And the one thing that perturbed me a little bit about this series with the Leafs is clearing pucks and, specifically on the penalty kill. But, you're going to have two guys on you on the PK, and you're going to have to get a hold of it. And, when you get possession and there's going to be guys on you, you got to get a hold and get wood on that thing and launch it over the D-man or get the window and out, whatever. You have to get it out of your zone. And they buggered that up quite a few times, and it almost cost them everybody time. And I'm telling you that when this Florida Panthers forecheck comes down on them, it's going to feel like they're on the PK and they're getting swarmed by two guys. I really like the way they move the puck around and find the open man. They don't panic with it. They know where each other are. Their support is really good. But when you get into trouble, you got to get that puck out, and it can't be a backhand flutter right to their D-men, because I guarantee you that will bite you in the ass. That's one thing I'm going to be looking for that I think is going to be huge, because we know what their forecheck's like, but matching them physically, leading with confidence, like you said, play Marchand's game against him, get in their face, like those little things behind the scenes and after the whistles and kind of behind the play. Be the pricks, be the guys that piss them off, get under their skin. Don't take penalties. It's such a fine line, but you just can't you can't let these guys wipe their feet with you. And I think they're in a better position to take that role than they ever have been.
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be uncomfortable, but we'll see pretty quickly if the Leafs are up to the task. Because I think you're so right. Ottawa's one opponent. The Florida Panthers way different. I could even argue this team is better than the one we saw last year win the Stanley Cup at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Just recapping Game 6. The Maple Leafs moving on to Round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the second time in the last 21 years. And I think just a variety of different roles were played. I didn't mind the start to the game. You know what's intriguing to me is, like, I didn't think they played their best game, the big boys specifically. Like, they had their moments. Even, man, what a play. Matthew Knies, every game, there's just a couple things that you pinpoint. And you're like, shit, this guy's good. There was a play in the third period where he just muscled the guy off the puck in the D zone, brought the puck deep, got it deep. I think it might have even been in like the tail end of the PK or something like that with like 5-6 minutes left, because they take that penalty late. And he just knows, like, his hockey IQ is through the charts. And even lifting his leg the way he did, the precision on the shot by Matthews in the power play goal, it just, Matthew Knies, we're at a point where it's like, hey, do you give Marner money to Knies? Like, we're at that level right now.
Yeah, watch him closely, man. Like, he'll be net front, puck will go behind the net. You know, a world-class defenseman goes back to get it. He's got position. He's there first. And Kniesy will he'll just put pressure on the hip and lift the stick, and then he spins around, and all of a sudden he's got space with possession. And it's like, what happened there? I can't tell you how difficult that is and how smart you got to be, how strong you got to be. And he does those little things, and he comes up with the puck so often. And oftentimes that's the beginning of a play that ends up in the back of the net, and they'll show the highlight or the replay, and it won't even show the part that I'm talking about. But that's the kind of thing that comes up, you know, that creates those plays, and it doesn't get all the accolades. But yeah, he gets on the score sheet and he looks great and everything, but he does so many little things as well that are going to be huge in this series. And there's a reason he's playing with those big boys. His hockey IQ is through the roof, and he's got the tenacity to do it. Watch him forecheck, man. He's high stepping, and he's like swimming past the D-man, and it's fucking scary for those D-men to see that guy barreling down on them. They panic. They suck up against the board so they don't get killed. They turn the puck over. They chuck it to somewhere they normally wouldn't. It turns pucks over, and we need a lot more of that. And that's what Florida does, and it's part of what makes them successful. And Matthew Knies' forecheck game is leading the way for this Leafs team, and the rest of them got to follow suit here coming up.
Definitely. And before people get on me in the chat, I'm exaggerating. I'm not going to give him 14 sheets a year, but I think it's appropriate to suggest that Matthew Knies is getting $7 to $8 million per season, maybe on a 3 to 5 year contract, something around that realm. But he has earned every penny. Like, the evolution of Matthew Knies' game. And I just love the fact, Rosie, that he has the ability to impact a game on different levels. Just doesn't have to be on the score sheet either.
Yeah, and that's kind of been my problem with Marner, right? He's kind of a one-trick pony, you could call it. Maybe people are going to get mad at that, but not one-trick pony. He's really good defensively. I get that. But offensively and what he creates, it's kind of one way, where Kniesy can dangle and bury and shelf and make the prettiest play and spin off a guy, or he can just workhorse his way to making fruition out of a nothing play. And he's multi-dimensional. He's very smart, very strong. He's faster than everyone thought. I can't believe people are talking about how his skating would hold him back and make him have no success in the NHL is ridiculous. But I keep thinking about the way the Leafs stack up to this Florida Panthers team, and you need a lot of Matthew Knies in it if you're going to push back on them and have them start to second guess and double clutch the puck and turn things over and be on their heels a little bit, which is what you need if you're going to win a series. It's Matthew Knies type of hockey, and everyone to a man, Mitch Marner included, needs to adopt that to a certain degree, because the other stuff, it's not going to go anywhere against that big boy team. And again, they need to elevate higher and higher and higher, as high as they possibly have, if they're going to make a dent in this big boy team.
And the amount of people in our chat talking about Ryan Reaves potentially playing, that's not happening, is it?
No, not in a million years. He's rusty as hell. He hasn't played in a long time. He's not really fast enough. He's going to be a big distraction. He's going to try to run around and bury someone, might maybe take a penalty, and you're not going to be able to put your fourth line out there that much. Like, he's just not going to be a factor in this series. That rating's already on the wall. He's not going to go out there and scare anybody. Like, there hasn't been a single fight in the playoffs this whole season, as producer Vic mentions. What is he going to go fight? Like, who? Like, what are you talking about? No, he's not going to be a factor. That's already decided, the way they utilized him down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, because producer Vic's telling us that even Anderson and Wilson, who fought in the bench last week, only got roughing penalties for that, man. Like that, how close do you have to get to a fight?
Weren't their gloves on? I mean, their gloves were on. You got to shed your shit to get a fight. That wasn't a fight. It's wild they ended up in the bench and everything else, but I don't know. So many fans are calling, oh, there was a fight, and I was like, no, there was not a fight. Both their gloves were on. That was a scrum. So yeah, it's not. And usually for even back in the day when there was heavy fighting in the league, all of a sudden the playoffs are there and it really evaporated quick. And it always kind of bothered me, or I wondered why. Like, you can still swing the momentum and get the crowd going bananas with the scrap in the playoffs just the way you can in the regular season. But for whatever reason, it went away, and it doesn't seem like it's coming back anytime soon. Hence why Ryan Reaves is where he's at right now.
No, a bit of a different story for sure. And I think you look at this Maple Leafs lineup, but I would anticipate the same thing for game one, right? I don't know why you would deviate. And I think you have to commend the coaching staff and Craig Berube. I mean, we were speculating and talking about maybe a goalie change. They didn't do that. They didn't even make a lineup change. Like, I don't know if you saw the wording around why they didn't choose Nick Robertson to come in, but ultimately it was a good decision, because Max Pacioretty, the guy ultimately who would come out, scores the game-winning goal. But it's all about adjustments. It's all about coaching. I think coaching's bigger. It's a bigger aspect than we give it credit for in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so far, so good for Craig Berube here in round one, Rosie.
Yeah, he's a calming presence. I was saying on After Dark, when he coached me, I do remember him being just very linear. Like, he's flat line. He doesn't get too high when things are going well. As you noticed on the bench in game one, when he's looking over at Savard going, are you kidding me? Like, jumping around over one goal in the first game of the first round. He's very calm, cool, and collected. And when things are going bad, he also doesn't melt down. He's a calming presence, which I think is good for this team in this market. And we've already seen it through the first round. He makes good decisions, doesn't panic. He's got in his mind what works. And just because, they have a rough game or something doesn't mean he changes everything that he thought 4 hours ago. He sticks with it, and it paid off there last night.
In support of Sick Kids, William Birch, thank you so much for the super chat. Go Leafs, go. Really, really appreciate that. And certainly we're on the same wavelength as we get set for game one of round two here. A rematch with the Florida Panthers. Should be a really, really good series. And it's amazing how healthy that team is all of a sudden with Matthew Tkachuk. And again, I was chuckling that they end up polishing off and finishing off Tampa before the Leafs finish off and dust off the Ottawa Senators. But it should be a really good series. There's a lot to take away. It's a pretty sizable feat for this team to finally move on and get to round two here, and we'll see what they can do here against the Florida Panthers, Rosie.
Yeah, we will. I mean, I'm just picturing the game, like, burying your chances is going to be huge. You get an opportunity. I don't think they did that as well down the stretch against Ottawa. Lots of posts and lots of wrapping the glass and double clutch. The chances you're going to get in that series, you need to have some puck luck. You need to have some clutch factor and bury your opportunities. Stoley's going to have to be good. He's going to have to, get that like 9-4 save percentage back where you're kicking everything aside, and you're only giving him the highest 2 or 3 chances that they get. The whole game is the only thing that you don't get a piece of. Everyone's going to have to be good against this team. But I mean, I'm pumping the Florida Panthers up. I do think they're the best team in the world, but they're not invincible. And I watched some of those Lightning games, and they're not perfect, right? So you can expose what you can expose, but you're going to have to be on your game in order to do it. I think it's going to go the distance this series, and I think the Leafs are going to give them a good run, and I hope that they shock a lot of people. It would be absolutely incredible.
In support of Sick Kids, Matt, thank you so much for the super chat. Does the underdog tag benefit the Leafs in round 2? I think they could play to their advantage. I mean, we all know what's at stake. We all know who the favorite is in this series. The Panthers won the Stanley Cup last year, but I honestly feel like the Maple Leafs should adopt that role. They should relish it. And the PR game is going to play an impact in this series. Paul Maurice against Craig Berube and some of the talking heads on both sides here, Rosie.
Yeah, the underdog role. I mean, adopt that. That's great. But the underdog role with belief, like underdog role with chip on your shoulder, not underdog role. And oh my God, like these guys are so good. And oh my God, there's so much pressure on us. And oh my God, what happens if we don't do well? Like sometimes they have that body language and look on their face. I want them with the furrowed brow saying, bring these pricks on. No one thinks we can win. We're the underdogs. We're not supposed to win. I don't mind that mentality at all. I think they could have success with it. And it just is what it is. They're playing the best team in the world, as we've mentioned. And that's for every team that plays the Florida Panthers is going to be the underdogs, plain and simple. And Maple Leafs are no different.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're looking to connect here with Wendel Clark in mere moments to get his thoughts on this Battle of Ontario and moving forward, the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers, as well as ProStation Canada, the importance of prostate cancer awareness and getting checked. And that's an important aspect of life. So I thought that was important to get that on the podcast as well. So we'll connect here with Wendel in mere moments. But I think you look at the Maple Leafs, they're going to need it from everywhere. Bob McMahon's mired in a nasty, nasty goalless drought. I like the fact that he got a couple spins on the Nylander line. I still think they're looking for that fit, if you will. Pacioretty starts last night. We've seen Holmberg. We've seen Yarncroke. We've seen Domi. So many different guys have had the opportunity to play on that line, and nobody seems to have stuck just yet. And maybe it's Bob McMahon, but it's good in the sense where he's the type of guy, when he gets hot, and maybe one goal goes to his legs, right?
Yeah, it only takes one for the levee to break. I mean, you look at Domi, the way he was, stymied for so long this season. He's kind of broke out of that. I think Bobby McMahon's right there right now. I don't look at him as this pure goal scorer. You need to do other things and bring the other factors to your game, and eventually one will go in. But again, it only takes one to kind of break the levee, and it's weird how it works that way. I don't know if it's a mental reset or just the hockey gods or puck luck or what, but if he can get one, he'll be more effective, and I think you'll notice him. And like I said, the things will break loose for him, but they're having trouble finding some chemistry with that left side with Willie and Johnny. And I don't know who it's going to be. I don't care who it is. If someone can get some chemistry going, they're going to need a lot of that in round 2 here.
Definitely. And again, you look at sort of the aspect in between the pipes as well. When you look at Sergei Bobrovsky and Anthony Stolarz at the Maple Leafs end, I think that'll be an aspect as well. Rosie, I want to ask you, do you want to just do an audio interview here? We can't seem to figure out the camera.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. We'll get Wendell on however we can take him.
Okay, let's do that. The following interview is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. Get custom ring building, delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program and unbeatable pricing policy. Charm Diamond Centers is proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. As we've teed up all show long, so pumped to get today's guest in the mix. It is the great Maple Leafs legend, Wendel Clark. What's going on, Wendell? Thank you so much for doing this.
Don't.
No, we don't got him. Okay.
We'll
try our best to, we'll try to figure it out here and get him on. But yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle with today's show. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Really, really looking forward to this series. I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, you to a degree, you have exercised some demons for sure. When you look at the body of work and what they've dealt with in recent memory, in recent seasons, even in Game 5, to push through. But you're right. What you talked about earlier on, man, the fact that like they had to push through and then they come out and like no show in Game 5 and to bounce back. I told you they'd suck us back in, and that's exactly what they did. And now we're back believing. I know they're about to climb Kilimanjaro and play a really, really damn good hockey club, but us against the world, let's use that mentality, even if it's the Maple Leafs.
Can you hear me now?
We got you. We got you, Wendell. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. Game 6 off to round 2. What were your thoughts on last night's game?
Well, I thought it was great. We proved that it was a series. Everybody goes high and low. You guys are all part of the media now and the fans, and they take sides game in, game out. But it's a it's always a series, and I thought they all played pretty well.
You mentioned the highs and lows, and I get caught up in it more than I thought I was going to be in on the media side of things. But from your perspective, what do you think of this team? Do you get caught up in believing them and then see the same old stuff, or are you more level-headed than most people?
No, it's a 7-game series, and it doesn't matter who you're playing or when it is, or that's my take. Nobody's ever playing 4 perfect games and winning every time. That's you know, if your regular season, if you win 4 out of the 7, you win the Stanley Cup every round. So you can have the biggest stinkers you want. Doesn't matter as long as you win the next night. And that's just the way it is. But it's not going to be hyped that way because everybody's got to sell the game. So that's the way it is outside. But in the dressing room, they're all just trying to bring it every night. And some nights it's there, and some nights it's not. And I think last night was one of the ones to bring it again.
Wendell, this number 67 keeps popping up. I mean, Pacioretty scores the first goal of the regular season. He scores the series clinching goal here against the Ottawa Senators. How important is it for guys like this to elevate? I know we could talk a lot until we're blue in the face about the big core 4 guys and the fantastic 5, but the depth guys I think are massive. And Pacioretty, I think, proving his worth last night, right?
No, it's huge. He's a lot of experience. I love how he's changed his game a little bit, plays physical now, now that he doesn't have to play a lot of minutes. I think he's a great guy that's going to be in and out of the lineup just because of his age. You can bring him in, shock the lineup, take him out, gets rested, bring him back in, and he understands his role. I think he does it to a T right now. And when you can bring guys in for short spurts or play them on short spurts, but they have a skill level with tenacity, they're going to chip in because come playoff time, if you're not playing down the middle, you're not going to get points. That's just the way it is in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Wendell, watching that series against the Sens, is there a name or someone that comes to mind first that was a difference maker?
Well, I think you guys have already talked about it. Knies is just coming into his own. I think he keeps going on the trajectory that he's going. I think that Berube, the coach, has been the biggest change in his game, getting him to understand how to use his body. He come from Arizona. He's like Austin, so he would have grown up idolizing Austin, and then you watch his game. But then he can bring so much more, and he'll become a better player for himself if he plays just a little bit nastier. And I think that's our coach is really starting to bring that out in him.
Does that give you the feels and the chills when you watch Matthew Knies and think back to your old days in the league, Wendell?
No, I think it's fun. I think it makes a big difference in the game, the tempo in the building. You watch the Washington game that first period and watch Montreal throw the puck away because of the big guy running around, and that really helps change it. And it helps when you can't do it if you're a 4th line guy because you're not on the ice with all the right guys. But if you're a front 1-2 line guy and you get to play that way, you can really make a difference in the game.
Mm-hmm. Have you been watching that Florida series much? And what do you see out of the Panthers? And what do you think think's the biggest thing that it's going to take for the Leafs to give this team a run?
I think it's going to be the same thing we've learned a little bit in the Ottawa series, but Florida, being that they've been there 2 years in a row, won the Cup last year, they know how to be patient with their style of game, and we have to bring that patience. That nothing may happen for a long time. You got to play hard, and you can't open up to try to get something. And that's usually what veteran teams that have been to the finals or played a lot of rounds. Boston had that for a while. Is they just know how to be patient and keep playing hard in the playoffs, and we have to adapt and learn that quickly to upset a team that's proven that they can be there.
Most definitely. And I think when you look at this series, it's going to get real very, very quickly. Not to take anything away from Ottawa, but they're not the Florida Panthers. When you look at the first round, obviously the big boys take a lot of the heat, and understandably so. How important, how instrumental do you think it was for them to factor in a series deciding game the way they did? I thought they were pretty good last night.
No, I think you always have to have your big guys come in and be a part of it. They are going to get shut down for parts of series. You got to give credit to the other teams checking lines and how they are orchestrated to shut your best players down, and that's where your depth comes into it. Basically, your goalie never loses the game, but he has to win game, and a goalie has to win you a game in every round. Your best players have to win you a game in every round. And then the third and fourth game are won by the team. Somebody else, a mixture of everything wins the games. But you almost have to have one game is just strictly your best players find a way to outplay everybody. And one's your goaltender's got to do it when you shouldn't be winning. Then the other two are it's your team that wins it.
Mm-hmm. And this team, this core is kind of, gotten dragged through the mud a little bit for not having that clutch factor. Obviously they had her last night and got over the hump and kind of silenced that to a degree. Is that something that guys like that learn as they get more experience, or what is it about a clutch factor that some guys have and some guys struggle with?
Well, I think they have to learn it in a way. They're just there. The great thing about our young guys, or they're not young anymore, they're all 7, 8, 9 years in the league, is they're the right age because they're not old, they're not young. So it's their time. It's their time to prove it and grab it and go and get it, and they're going to learn how to go through stuff. And we don't know if they will or not without going through it. So I think they will. They've done it at other levels, whether it be junior or college or world championships. They've all done it at some level in a small way. It's a little different. It's not a one-off. It's a series. It's 16 games you have to win, and you're going to have bad nights. That's just the part of it. And you're going to get drugged through the mud. That's part of it as well when you get to play in a hockey market. But they're in the 7-game series. As long as you have 4 good ones and 3 bad ones, you win. So it doesn't have to be every single night. You hope and you try to bring it every night, but it's just not going to happen every night.
I like the math on that. And the one thing that really impressed me about the first round was just the calm, cool, and collected nature of Craig Berube. Like you talked about him earlier on. Nothing seems to phase the guy. And if it does, he doesn't show it in the media. Can you speak to how that impacts a player in the room when you see your coach calm like that?
Oh, I think it's great. He's not flustered. He's been there. He's done that. He had that personality as a player and how he played, but also as he's learned, I think, through coaching and then going all the way and winning it. So he really knows he doesn't want to get his players overexcited. So they turn around, look at him and go, he's never phased. And that's a great thing. Doesn't matter what the game looks like or winning or losing. He's got the monotone work-like business. That's what he brings across, and they know what to expect out of him. And so I think he brings that just as solid as a rock type guy back there. And it's very simple. It's simple terms. I've been in the room when he's done some talking to the guys. It's very simple, straight to the point. It's not hard to understand, and I think that's really good because we're all just athletes, whether it's that era or this era. In simple terms, and how do you want me to play? And I think that comes across.
Speaking of eras, Wendell, the one that you played in and the way that you played had an intensity factor that's just you just don't see it anymore. Is it frustrating for you to watch this era of hockey where guys are trying to win something so special, but have trouble getting to an intensity level that you and your era played at?
It can, but it's just a different time. I guess you'd say there's not an intensity. It's just a different way of playing. Kids grow up a lot different ways of playing now. So and you see it basically in players that make it and players that don't make it is they can't adapt or change. And then they blame somebody in the American League. They can't figure out why they can't get to the next level. Well, the next level is really hard. And if you're a right winger trying out in Washington and the right winger's Ovechkin, you're not going to be the offensive guy there. Nobody's as good as he is. So you have to learn to change your game and might be playing physical to get in the lineup, or it might be, and you have to learn how to adapt to make it. And that's the one thing I notice in this era of kids. They don't want to adapt to change to make it. Guy Carbonneau had to become the best defensive centerman to make it because he wasn't going to beat out Jacques Lemaire in Montreal. Dougie Gilmour did it in St. Louis as a defensive center to get into the league behind Bernie Federico, and then he changed to offense. But you have to change and adapt, and I find sometimes players today don't want to change how they grew up. And every player, if you're going to make the highest level, you may have to not be the person because there's that many good players in the league.
Wendell, different era, man. I'm astonished to find out there hasn't been one scrap in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And with that in mind, in support of Sick Kids, David Owens asked the question, ask Wendell who you like fighting most as a Maple Leaf. Who'd you like fighting most as a Leaf, Wendell?
We never like fighting because you might lose. it's just something that it happens. Usually, if you're a power left winger like I was, you're going to be fighting the right defenseman on the other team because you keep being a pain in the butt to him. And we used to dump it in and go get the same guy all the time. And the guy that I went against, it wasn't fun fighting all the time, but he was a very tough guy, and didn't show it. I wish we had a guy like him on our team now. It was a Bob Rouse. Played right defense in Minnesota. He was in Lethbridge when I played junior, and then he was played with us, and he got so mean and nasty in the playoffs without taking penalties, but could do everything. But he used to just wait. We'd dump the puck in, and he'd stand at the dot, and I go, "Well, let's go get it." He goes, "No, I'll go in the same time you are. I'm not getting hit anymore." And then we'd end up fighting before we even get to the corner because he was going, "I'm not going to take it." And so he was a great battler and just knew how to play. And he was one guy that could just turn up the intensity in the playoffs and still play within the rules.
Tough to do. Wendell, last one for me. I need a prediction on what do you think is going to happen in this round 2 series with the Leafs.
No, hopefully I'm not allowed to do predictions other than just have fun. I think if we keep learning how we played and grow off how we started the series, game 1 was a convincing one, and then how we found a way to win and stay in the series. And if we can learn and grow from that, because it's going to be a tenacious series, they're going to keep coming at us. If we thought this one was tough to watch for 6 games, wait till you watch this round, because of this team you're playing against has been there, done that. So we're going to have to outdo them, and hopefully we can do it in the 7 games.
But as long as everyone has fun, you're fine with it.
If it's nasty and fun and ups and downs and everybody's complaining, then happy, it's fun playoff hockey. This is the greatest time of the year with the ups and downs, and that's all what's fun about it.
It's going to be heavy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable. Looking forward to it. Before we let you go, you do some awesome work, Wendell, in the community. Lately, it's been with ProStation Canada, the importance of prostate cancer awareness and getting checked. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, it's really just we all have friends and teammates, especially us guys getting older, and we don't like to see doctors unless it's for a 10-second visit. But basically, just telling friends and all the men out there, it's to make sure you're getting checked. And if you do come down with prostate cancer, it's prostationcanada.ca that it can help you move along and deal with it, and what questions to ask your doctor and your friends. And it's a team effort. Remember that. Just sometimes we want to do things alone, but everything is a team effort. You're stronger and life's better. So that's the main thing.
Awesome stuff. Very well said, Wendell. Can't thank you enough for making time today. Enjoy round 2, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Wendell.
Anytime. The great Wendell Clark. Dude, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. That was one of my one memory or big memory doing this show. That was great.
He was better than I thought he was even going to be with this. He's just so on it and fucking
fired
internet,
up,
man. I want to punch my laptop because I hate the internet and I hate technology. I can't believe of all the guys we've had on this show, that's the one we couldn't get the video going. Is what it is. It's a lot better than missing him entirely. It was great to hear his perspective and made me feel good about things.
Yeah, so thank you to Wendell Clark for dropping by the show. It's time now for the crispy hot take of the day, presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the first of its kind, the Ninja Crispy portable cooking system. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand, so you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
It is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. Cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max crisp, bake, air fry, and recrisp with the Ninja Crispy. You can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website and the link in the show description, and stay tuned for your chance to win a free Ninja Crispy. And producer Vic on Fuego after the series victory last night. Here's his hot take of the day for this Friday. Chris Tanev is the most important player on the Maple Leafs. How do you feel about that, Rosie?
Hot take. It's not wild. It's not wild to say that. He's not going to be on the highlight packs as much, and what he does goes unnoticed. But I cannot speak high enough about this back end and about the D. and it's led by him all the way. Just the way he moves the puck, the poise he has, and the way his positioning is, and how he reads plays and can break everything up, and being a warrior as well, which you need right now, blocking shots and being physical. He's a monster. What I will say though is if he is the best player in the next series, they're not going to get by. They're not going to get by this team. All three of those big boys up front, they're going to have to be the best players on this team, and they're going to have to lead the way if they want to get by these big cats.
Yeah, respectfully, I will deny that hot take from producer Vic, but definitely give him a shout out because Chris Tanev has been so beneficial and so important to this team's success. But I think it's simple to point the finger and say the most important player is your captain, Austin Matthews. What Matthews are you going to get in that series? If he's a guy who can dominate, if he's not a perimeter guy, can he get to the dirty areas? Can he get that shot off it? Again, it's going to be a nasty series. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be uncomfortable. I'm fully expecting a warning shot in game one. Alarm bells are going to go off, and they're going to realize really, really quickly who they're playing. It's not the Ottawa Senators anymore. You're not going to see Nick Cousins out there and got Ridley Gregg. Like this is
wrong with Nick Cousins.
Well, he's not an upper echelon player. I mean, he did not have any impact on that series. I was loving it after. Pardon me?
Friend of the show, man.
But you know what I mean? Like he does an handshake. But like I think from the Florida perspective, just they come in waves. Like we talked about at Toulouse to Ryan the other day, gets 4 points in that closeout game. It's going to be a different series. So I'd probably look at Matthews as my guy I'm looking at in that series to break out potentially.
And I hope so. I know what you're saying. It's going to be another level of
the chat saying Stolars, by the way.
Yeah, he's very, very possibly was the dude. And like I said, you got to get him up to where his save percentage was, and to be the talk of everyone's at the end of the game. He's got to be on the end of everyone's tongue because of how unbelievable he played. They're going to need that. And I think they've got that goaltending, which they haven't had in the past. And again, there's just every guy you talk about needs to be a difference maker. And if they can elevate to a certain degree, as good as the Cats are, they're not perfect, as Wendell said, and they're not invincible, and they're not gods. They're just guys in a hockey team, and they're very good at it. But you can poke holes in them, and you can put them in a position that they're not used to being in, and that'll be different for them too. So I think that's number one on the agenda, is getting that team uncomfortable and into a place that they don't like and aren't used to being.
Chip away, plant those seeds of doubt for sure. In support of Sick Kids, Hank Gibbs, thank you so much for the super chat. Don't normally divulge how much people are donating, but this one's great. $19.67 from Hank Gibbs.
Yeah, baby.
I would like to apologize for my behavior and stats from games 4 and 5 yesterday on the episode. Here's a donation, and now we go. Rosie, grow a beard out for the boys. Full disclosure, Rosie hates beards. We try to do that. He doesn't like beards.
My beard sucks. It's a patchy little catfish whiskers, and my wife would leave me if I did it. I did one year in some playoff run, and it was gross. I don't think anyone wants to see that. So sorry, that's not me.
Fair enough. Michael sends us a super chat. I often find them running out of gas. Chief needs to mandate nutritional for all 3 meals, along with supplements, energy drinks to put them in top form. We got nutritionists in the chat now. Okay.
I promise that shit is already covered to the highest degree you can imagine in that league. But it is, actually, that being said, some guys are surprising. They are individuals. They're free to do what they want. And some guys just don't value it. But that was back when I played. I can imagine it's even times 10 nowadays. Those guys have every last little thing within the rules covered.
Want to get in on the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365? They got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line, you can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. We got game 6 tonight. The Blues hosting the Winnipeg Jets. Are we headed for 7th heaven here, Rosie?
Very odd only having one game on the slate right now. It seems funny in the first round, but it's where it's at. At the end of it, okay, I'm going to take the Winnipeg. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets to get this thing done. But Hellebuck scares me, man. When the lights are bright, he doesn't seem to bring his best. As good as he is, it's funny how he falls off when things need to get done. But I'm going to be positive and go with the Winnipeg Jets, mostly because my buddy Luke Shen, the human eraser, on the back end.
Yeah, I was going to say, producer Vic, you want to clip that? I have Braden Shen's email. I'll send that to him. There you go.
Oh, yeah, Brado. You can't win a bowl. It's like his parents right now. Like, do you win?
Yeah, I know.
You wear a jersey and a hat of each. Again, that's a Wendell, as long as everyone has fun, right?
Yeah, I love that answer from Wendell. I will say I like the Blues. I think there's the Hellebuck factor, which is just crazy to me because the guy's about to win back-to-back Vezinas, but he turns into Ilya Samsonov in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They need a massive effort on the road. And number two, the uncertainty surrounding Mark Scheifele, man. He got drilled the other day. Drilled. That is playoff hockey. He's not going to play. I know Ehlers is on the road trip. He's nowhere close to being healthy, in my opinion. Velarde just came back. There's a lot of question marks, and the Blues are really good on home ice. They've been fantastic. I think it's, like 12 or 14 in a row on home ice for the Blues, something like that. So I like the Blues tonight.
I was going to take the Blues, and then last minute I switched to the Jets, and now I'm regretting it.
Let's go for both teams. Why not?
It'll be a war. I'm doing the Wendell. As long as everyone has fun, that's all I care about. Can you bet?
Can't give predictions. He cannot give predictions, but Wendell loves the Leafs. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Thank you to everybody in the chat. As we document on social media, again, it's sounding more and more likely, not for sure, but that game one's going to be Monday night, Scotiabank Arena. That barn better be rocking, man. It better be rocking with the Panthers in town.
I'm sure it will be. I'm excited. I got to get my details planned here because I got to get on a bird and get out there ASAP. Look forward.
Yeah, let's get a signature signing here. Let's do a signing somewhere with Jay Rosehill.
Do you want me to bring a jersey this time? I screwed that up in Nashville.
Yeah. Bring your jersey out. Bring your jersey out this time, and I'll rock it for you. Okay.
Oh dear. Okay, sounds good.
What are the chances you forget it again? Highly
Zero.
Likely. Zero.
I can grab the one off the wall back there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the Leafs off to round 2 coming up on Monday. If the plan changes, we'll have something for you on Sunday. But again, at this point, at least, it sounds like game one's going to be Monday for the Leafs and the Florida Panthers. Feeling good on this Friday. Good end this week this way. It's just hilarious how this market works out. 48 hours ago, I wanted to throw my computer through a wall. I still feel that way. I'm a little pissed off. But again, positive vibes. 67's popping up everywhere. Pacioretty, first goal of the year. Pacioretty, series clincher. We're on, baby. Let's do it. Now we go.
Yeah, we do. Now we go. Here we go. On to the second round. Love it. I'm excited.
Thank you to Wendel Clark. Thank you to the chat at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Our main man, producer Vic, we couldn't do it without you once again. So appreciate you, buddy. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Monday. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.